first off, this is going to be a decent amount of information, but it's not even close to as much information that's out there, as Carrie noted. Well, also, does anyone want any coffee? I know that was kind of a late arrival, but feel free to grab some coffee. No, I just meant thank you. I just mean that as a dig at any point. Grab some coffee, okay? But yeah, like I was saying, don't feel like you need to download all this mentally right now. Our goal is to try to get everyone in and give you a semi-quick run through of this. Again, it's a lot, and it's ever-changing. Sherwin's also working on a binder for each area for you to have references on this, plus a bunch of other information. So don't feel like you're staring at this screen and need to be writing down all these notes and memorizing everything. And there isn't a quiz at the end, but we will be talking about these things plenty because it is super important, obviously, as Carrie noted, not only for your safety, but also the guests. And we really just want to make sure that we get off on the right foot because, to her point with social media and whatnot, all it takes is a few people saying Andaz San Diego isn't caring and whatnot, and then people are all in an uproar. So we don't expect that by any means because you all do a great job and you all pay attention. So thank you again. So, okay, on we go. Leading through our purpose. Distance can't stop us from caring. See what they did there with the distance thing? That was nice, huh? So again, there's going to be a lot of kind of body language and things like that. People can't see you smiling, so you'll see some various pictures on how we can still appreciate our guests and acknowledge them without maybe smiling, and you could still see a little bit, I guess. But point being, the care is there, the actions are still there. Our world has been fundamentally changed. We already kind of talked about this, and even today, like I said, about has anyone traveled? And that's the thing. I know it's been so limited. Everyone's been so cooped up. It's going to be a different feel in the hotel, not only because not everyone's here and that our occupancies are a little lower, but also just simply on what we're offering and how we're offering it. It's a lot different. I mean, you look at when you go to the grocery store, you look at when you go anywhere. The world is totally different. I think we can all agree on that. And how we think and how we act here in the hotel is totally going to change. And although we're still at the core of that and how we act, how we're going to portray that is different. And the safety is just ramped up times 1,000. Amanda knows that for sure. And we just have a lot going on as far as information that needs to get to you all so that you can feel comfortable to relay that to the guest if they have any questions. So again, huge changes, not only in our hotel, but industry-wide. So this requires adjusting to our plan. So we seek to make Hyatt the safe, secure, and reliable brand of choice based on care and well-being so that people can book with confidence and stay with a peace of mind, operate with confidence, and recover responsibly. That's what we would do, right? And create a sense of comfort, confidence, and competence. So again, confidence is in each one of those, right? And that goes back to the fact that the second that there is a sense of, well, I'm not so sure they're doing this, or maybe they're not doing this, or yeah, we do that sometimes, that's when the fear starts, right? We got to be confident in knowing what we're doing. We need to be confident in executing each and every day. And like I said, if you have questions about a process or it doesn't make sense, that's very possible. And we just need to talk about it and come up with a new way if we feel like it, or explain it better to you so that you understand. Because again, when the guest is here, they want us to stand up straight and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We feel great you're here. You're going to love it. And these are all the steps we've taken to make sure you feel safe. And you're going to enjoy our property more than you ever have, and we're so happy you're here, okay? It's just a different feel to, yeah, hopefully you're all right, welcome, good luck, right? It's just, we got to have that sense of confidence. That's a huge part of this, so we'll make sure you have it. Including an enhanced commitment to care and cleanliness. So Hyatt's global care and cleanliness commitment, a lot of C's there, is grounded in colleague and guest safety and further enhances our existing operational guidance and resources, including our cleanliness accreditation for each hotel this is the GBAC. So basically, Amanda took a nice little training the other day on this, so woo, congrats. So she'll be leading the charge on that front, as well as the middle here. Hygiene and well-being specialist in every hotel, and then an external panel of industry experts and professionals. So obviously, Hyatt has a huge reach on this, right? So Ecolab, state, federal, everything is a ton of information going through Mark and his team so that they can get it out to us. There's been no shortage of information, that's for sure. We have toolkits aplenty and guides, more guides than you'd want to see. But point being is that this accreditation, again, is one more way that we can give our guests confidence, right? We've gone through these certain parameters that are given by this council to say, you know what, we've done that, and that, and you're officially accredited as a hotel that's an industry leader as far as cleanliness. So again, that's one more thing to kind of have in your back pocket that we're working to do and get approved for. Any questions on that? So far, so good? Everybody good? Okay. Stay hydrated. Okay. The key component to our plan is that our colleagues remain at the heart of our business and core to providing care for our guests and customers. So again, this is our Hyatt world, and you are at the center. What makes us different than any other hotel? You guys, right? So again, although we might be limited on how we can physically put our arm around someone and say, we're so happy you're here, or covered our face so that we can't have our bright smile, you still can make a difference. And I know we'll figure out a way to do it. It's the little things that you think of. It's the things that you think of ahead of time. The good thing is that we won't be so slammed busy that we're running around this place crazy. It might feel like it with as little of us as there are, but the point is that you should have some time also to think and make those special little touches that maybe aren't physical but more mental, right? So you guys are the ones that are going to be able to do that. Showcasing safety first while caring for the well-being of all of our stakeholders is how we'll continue, or how we will deliver on our plan with our purpose as our guide. We'll do this in 3 ways: what we value, how we act, and the experiences we deliver. Okay, so we bring our purpose to life through our values, right? So respect, be inclusive, value diverse points of view, and care for people in your environment. Pretty simple, right? But that means a lot. Integrity, tell and accept the truth. Again, we're not going to say we're doing all these things that we're not doing, right? Honor your commitments and take ownership and act with pride. Again, pride, confidence. Humility, let the actions speak for themselves. Share the credit and put others first. I love that one. That's a really good one. Empathy, truly listen, respond with compassion, and walk in the shoes of others. This is going to be a huge one for you all, because you got to think some of these people haven't traveled in months. They've been cooped up in their houses, right? They've maybe don't even have a job currently. They might have saved for this trip for God knows how long, right? So if one little thing happens, that might be the switch, right? So we need to empathize and turn that around and make sure that we're able to respond with compassion and truly listen. When we're able to do those 2 things, they might be mad at first, but those are the people that turn around and say, you know what, I'm so sorry. I'm a little stressed. I apologize. Forgive me, right? And sometimes that doesn't happen too, but at the end of the day, if we're doing our part to empathize, that's going to really help ease any of the frustrations that may come about with traveling with our limited offerings or restrictions or whatnot. So empathize, empathize. Creativity. See things anew. Fail often and succeed sooner. Be curious, learn and relearn. This is huge because, again, like I said earlier, we are thinking about the way that things will work the best. You all do these things daily, right? We've done them maybe 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, whatever. But point being is that we know how the operation runs, but you guys are in there every day, in and out. Things change all the time. And so challenge the way that things are, that we're proposing things, and say, hey, have you thought about this? This might work better. And I might say, oh my goodness, that's such a good idea. I didn't even think of that. I've always used this, and it's 10 years old. Who knows? But we're going to have to be more on the line level, which is going to be cool for us too. But at the end of the day, our perception of things versus yours might be different. So please, 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 teamwork. We got to hear from you. You got to speak up and say, that's not the best way to do that. Let me show you how, right? And so then we can be able to change the way we do it. Or I could say, oh man, I'd love to do it that way, but here's this thing that tells me we have to do it this way. So can we find a happy medium, right? So again, fail often, succeed sooner, be curious, learn and relearn. And I challenge you all to do that. And let's do it while we're having fun, right? So don't take yourself too seriously. Laugh out loud. Build joy. You know, if we're all having a good time together, we'll fail together, we'll succeed together, and that makes our day go by quicker, and you go home happy as opposed to feeling a little beat down, right? So let's pick each other up, and I think all these values are a big slide. So any feedback on this? Good? What all's your favorite one? Fun. All right, let's make that our focal point then, all right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Everyone's going to have multiple hats to wear, and just think of walking into each other's shoes and what you do. So it goes both ways on client side and employee side.
Great point. Anytime you want to jump in, feel free. You too. Anyone, actually, that's fine. But yeah, it's huge, right? Is that we're all doing something different. And to his point, we're going to be doing things that we might haven't done in a long time. So try not to get frustrated with us as we're trying to help you out. So. Yeah. Laugh at us with us. How about in front of us, okay? Yeah. All right, so new ways you'll see our values in action. So respect. Hygiene and well-being leaders are located in every Hyatt hotel to create an environment where you feel comfortable and confident through the training, support, and resources available to you. Empathy. Before you leave work each day, you'll be asked for your feedback on your day to ensure you feel safely, and that it's our top priority that you have the training and support you need to do your job. So there's going to be a little QR code that we're going to be able to put up for you guys so that you can fill out a little survey if you don't feel like talking to us face to face. So that's a kind of a cool thing so that you can share. Again, as far as safety is just such a focus, we want to hear from you, however that is. Creativity. Regularly, you'll be asked to participate in our recovery planning and test new ideas for guest experiences. Again, we're writing almost a new rule book, guys. It's an open canvas on some fronts with a lot of guidelines, but the creativity can happen, and we really look for your help in that as we navigate. Empathy plus action equals care. So I thought that was kind of a funny picture, but no more fist bumps, elbow bumps only, I guess. All right, so this slide is a lot, but I wanted to try to give you just a general feel for what this place is going to look like, both for the colleagues and the guests. So we'll start for you guys first. So one entrance and exit only as far as the loading dock goes, right around the corner there. Do not enter through the vendor doors. Temperature checks upon arrival. Sherwin has his temperatures. He's got, I think I saw him spinning them around Western style earlier. Again, that's for your safety, everybody. I know it's weird. It's just has to happen, and we just need to respect that, and it's for everyone's safety here as well as the guests. No dining options available, but please bring your own lunch if you like. If you have a desk, we encourage you to eat at the desk. Limited number of colleagues at a time at the cafeteria, and please wipe down your table after use. This last thing I'm really excited about, I've been working with DoorDash to provide a program where they have no delivery fee, and it's 50% off your service charge. So more info to come on that, but I'll need to get everyone's email addresses so that we can get you signed up. And if you have a DoorDash account already, it'll already go on that. And the cool thing I liked about this, I did a bunch of research between them and Uber Eats and all this stuff. They allow you to use it at your house too. So if you're not here and you use DoorDash, you'll still get the basically the promotion that we're paying for. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing that you could do it at your house with your family or whatever and still receive that benefit. Whereas a lot of the other ones were kind of like geofenced just to the hotel. So you had to order it just when you're here. So that one I thought was kind of cool. And again, it's not a ton, but it's something little that we felt like we could do, as obviously culinary is not back yet with us, so we obviously can't cook you food if they're not here. So I'll get more information on that, but hopefully when you signed in, is there an email address on there or no? I can't remember on that sign-in sheet. No? Okay. So yeah, that would be awesome, is if you guys can just, or I can grab them from Hortensia probably, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I have everybody's, or obviously we've been emailing you.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we would want to make sure that you're all okay and opt in to us signing you up for that beforehand. So we may just need to
Yeah.
get a quick.
Okay. Yeah, but I thought that was pretty cool. You know, it's not something huge, but they said it's normally you save about $5 an order is what they thought. So I thought that was a nice thing that we're able to do off the bat, and we can kind of go from there. Key watcher and the time clocks. Please sanitize before and after touching your keys and the time clock. Again, you'll see a picture later, and maybe if you came in that way, you saw there's hand sanitizer. Thank you, Mario, and your team for getting those up. And also some wipes on the top too. So whichever way you want to go about it, feel free. Lockers, practice social distancing. We're still getting to the whole locker situation because we want to make sure that everyone's spread out. So you might have a new locker. We're still getting those assigned. But just a heads up on that. We want, obviously, safety to be the main priority here. Elevators, 1 or 2 colleagues per elevator. Continue to practice social distancing. Again, this is something that's big, and this will also be on the guest side of things. Ideally, it should just be 1 person in the elevator, unless you could literally be on the opposite ends, but ideally 1 per, okay? For the guests, the front door will be locked at all times with guest room key access only. So what does that mean? They're going to need a key to get in, right? So there's going to be people that forget their key. There's going to be people just arriving that we have to make sure that we open the door for them. Again, this is to, just control a little bit of the flow in and out of the building. The rooftop won't be open for outside guests. So again, when the door's open, anyone can come in and out. So this is a way of just helping to reduce the interactions that we have to have inside the building to just our guests. Hopefully not. You know, and that's, again, the goal right now is to start as minimal as we can and go and ramp up as quickly as we can once we feel comfortable. And that's the goal. Obviously for the roof, we're not going to have a sustained period of time. We won't be profitable to not have people come in here that are other than guests. So we need to be able to evaluate that. Mobile key is being installed right now. So mobile key installed in order to allow for guests to bypass the front desk. So this is kind of a cool thing, and if you guys have stayed at the Grand or some other properties, you can get on your World of Hyatt app and go right to your room. So, and then you can use your phone to get right into your room. So again, it limits contact with people at the desk, and it's a really cool feature especially for the business traveler where a lot of times they just want to get to the room and crack open their laptop and start going to town, as opposed to the leisure guest that maybe wants to know about the zoo or whatever else, right? So that's a cool thing that's literally being installed as we speak. So social distancing markers in the lobby and lobby furniture to be spread out as well. So again, Michael is working on these markers throughout the lobby and trying to make them fun so that our guests are able to know how far away they can stand and whatnot, and still try to have it be a little Andaz clever way. So again, back with the elevators, we're going to have some signage there. We're going to have kind of a little station by the elevators so that they don't have to touch the button. There's just, if anyone's staying in the same room, they can go in the elevator, but otherwise we really should encourage them to just be by themselves in the elevators. Again, no food service to start, only beverage service with limited hours. STK will be available for dinner, but July 4th weekend, they're going to be open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. I am working on a local company, I think we had talked about this, but just to get us some food items upstairs, like Caesar salad, hummus plate, meat, fruit and cheese, something like that, so that you guys can have some stuff up there and that we don't just have to send people down to STK. But again, no culinary to start, so no food and beverage, just beverage. Globalists to receive 500 points as breakfast will not be available. I've already had about 20 emails regarding this, but we're straight up about it. This isn't something that we implemented here. It's a World of Hyatt program that they've allowed for the guests to get the 500 bonus points. So again, it's not obviously ideal, but as I told everyone that I've responded to, I'm more than happy to give you recommendations on local spots that you're going to love. And I've also been working on a restaurant recommendation list with items that are great from each place. So Breakfast Republic's on there, and there's some other things that we can get them situated with, okay? When room service comes back, it will be a knock and drop delivery. So essentially, it would be in a bag, and so that we would just knock on the door and leave the food there, okay? Again, limit contact with the guests, and it's tough because we have to reduce some of our service, but at the same time, safety is the main concern. So when you go into the room with the tray and your face is right by the tray, and then you're walking into the room and the kid's there, and it's just a lot of interaction that doesn't need to happen. And there's been a lot of advice on going to this level of service. So the pool chairs are already social distanced up there. So again, that was in the welcome letter I sent out to the guests, so they're aware of that ahead of time. Again, if they booked third party, they may not be, but any Hyatt emails that we have, I sent that out to them. It's going to be first come, first serve, and I did ask that they try to limit their time up there to 2 hours at a time. Again, fully aware not everyone's going to listen to that, right? But we do have, Jesse's going to be up there July 4th weekend to kind of help keep an eye on things and just monitor a lot of our guidelines. But again, this goes back to the care and the empathy thing that we're going to have to address if needed, if somebody's literally sitting there all day and we have a jam-packed pool, which can't be jam-packed. So everyone needs to have a seat, which is my next point here. So guests aren't allowed to mingle and must have a seat at the rooftop. So this is a guideline that was given to us as well. So the only time that they can be non-seated would be as if they're waiting for Todd to whip them up a specialty cocktail for them. So it's a really interesting regulation because that requires Jesse to also, or someone to kind of also guide them to a seat. So we're going to have to navigate that as well as we open, and understand that, again, hopefully some of these regulations will change soon locally. Housekeeping service to not be provided during their stay. So again, limiting interactions in the room. That's the hugest, the largest opportunity we have as a team to just still provide a great level of service with limited interactions. We got to really maximize our time with the guests that we have. But that being said, guest requests will be available for in-room needs, but again, it'll be delivered by a knock and drop. And again, we're still debating whether it's the host or public areas. We're trying to figure things out as far as that goes, as far as what makes the most sense due to our limited team. So we've kind of gone back and forth on this. But again, operationally, we'll be able to tackle that and have a solid answer for you before opening. Mini bars have been removed. Eventually, we might have these items more available at the front desk. So again, it's another opportunity where getting things out of the room that multiple people are going to touch, and that would require us wiping every single one of those things down after every stay, which is just crazy. Not to mention the glassware, which again is just not the cleanest way to go about things in a room. So we've had a lot of mandates given by Hyatt to remove almost as much as we can from that room to just limit touch points, right? And so the more that we can do that, the less opportunity there is for the virus to spread. But yeah, that's a lot to take in there, but that's like a big general overview as far as operationally, initially how we're going to start. Again, I can't stress that enough that things are going to change, and hopefully they're only going to go up, right? And that's the goal, is that mainly, probably from a food and beverage standpoint is where we're the thinnest we could be right now. And so hopefully that'll get ramped up soon. And then from the room side of things, same thing. That's going to be certainly easy to pick up once some regulations are dropped and whatnot, and some people want to come back to traveling. So what questions do we have here? I know it's a lot to take in, but yeah.
What about families that are multiple, like four, maybe? What about their time in the elevators and social distancing, or can they stay?
Yeah, for sure. So our stance would be as if you're same household, you should be able to go into the elevator and whatnot. Again, that's going to have to be something we kind of address at check-in too, and just say, hey, if everyone's staying in the same room, we assume you're under the same household and you're happy to stay together, but please keep your distance from other people that are not in your room. That goes back to, again, we'll have signage at the elevators that say same household or same room even, because again, we're not going to kind of interrogate everyone when they walk in here, but they need to understand also the risks that are involved in what we're trying to do as far as minimalizing or maximizing really the distance between people and minimalizing the opportunities for the virus to spread. So,
JD, I have a question.
sure.
So the guests, what they gonna see, the hotel, the minibar is not there anymore, right? What about the coffee, the coffee stuff on the tube?
Yeah, so
Do you have that on the room?
we're working on the coffee setup.
Yeah.
I've reached out to a few other Hyatts on what they've done for ones that have already opened up. No one has mugs, first off, so glassware and mugs are no longer. But some have just a paper coffee cup that they throw out after every single guest, whether the guest uses it or not. And then other places have a single wrapped coffee cup that they'll keep in there if it's not used, okay? Because again, we could wipe that down and it's the inside really that matters at that point. But point being, that's again an operational thing that we're currently working on. I think it was just 2 days ago, I was getting with some of the other hotels regarding it because we weren't finding good options for lids that were single wrapped. So the next thought is, okay, if we do lids, do we just throw those out every time? And that's obviously super wasteful. Or do you not do lids and we have them as a guest request item, right? And it's one of those things that a lot of rooms don't even have lids. So it's like, these are the little things that come up as we're going through our day that we're like, oh shoot, we gotta, figure this out. But it's a great question. We're working on all that stuff, and like I said, hopefully at some point we'll be able to have some sort of minibar option available at the desk or something like that, so that if people really want something, they can grab it there. Yeah, so that's a good point. So with the arrival process, again, we have the door locked first, right? So they're going to need to be let in. And so when they come to the desk, we're still going to have to talk to them. We have a list of questions that'll be in your front desk training, as far as, have you been in contact with anyone with COVID? Do you know of anyone that has COVID?
I don't think that we have to do, that's like certain hotels may be choosing to do that, or
Yeah.
even like I don't think that even the county requires, but we have to ask them how they're feeling.
And their temperature,
why
yeah.
like some hotels are electing to ask all those questions, kind of like a 5-point checklist of things, and based on the guest response. But there's a tell, show, do review
Yeah, I
activity
think I
guide
have,
that
yeah.
tells us how we want to handle those conversations. But essentially, we will have to ask every guest at check-in how they are feeling, and if they are expressing that they don't feel well, we will need to make recommendations on what they need to do from that point forward, so that we can avoid any potential COVID case from entering the hotel. So just as much as we're making efforts to try to have you do your own self-check, which I think we'll talk about here shortly.
Yeah,
before you
it's
leave the
pretty
house,
similar, yeah.
and your temperature check, we will be doing the same at the time of check-in with the guests, to make sure that we won't be taking their temperature, but we will be
Just
inquiring
verbal,
as to
yeah.
their well-being, and based on their answers, we'll take subsequent conversation routes. So
I still have another one. Just one.
Sure.
So, we just gonna go inside the room if they're checking up, right? So, do you want us to, like the extra towel that, they don't use, or, we still just gonna leave it that, or we just gonna pull it out?
Yeah, everything should come out, but you touched on a great point that,
Yeah.
We need to also be aware that we'll probably end up putting some more items in the room, right? Because they're not going to have the ability to swing in there during their stay, right? So, and Amanda's looking at, as far as par numbers go for the rooms, what new par numbers would be. Because, again, we want to think ahead for them. And that goes back to the empathy thing, right? And creativity. So, okay, how can we take care of them without necessarily being in the room? Well, maybe we add an extra towel. Maybe we add an extra washcloth, right? So that they can change it out halfway through their stay.
They don't go inside when they're checking, right? They were inside the room.
Yeah, exactly. So the only way we'd be able to interact with them, again, is through guest requests. So they could say, hey, we've used all our towels. I know you put a bunch in there, but we love towels. We say, no problem. Give us 2 hours. We'll be up. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be up shortly with your towels. But the point being, we need to be able to adapt. And if you keep, if we're consistently getting calls at the desk for towels, then you guys need to say, hey guys, I'm literally getting a call for a towel every other hour. Can we start to look at this, and maybe we put an extra towel in the room? That's the kind of coordination that we're going to need, as far as being able to change things and being able to think smarter for the guests. Yeah?
What about people that ask for like 2 sets of towels? Because we had people that ask, besides the towels that they have in there, they ask for 2 sets of towels. I think that's a lot of towels. But
Yeah.
So we'll get into a lot of that, like more detail for every department, right? So on Thursday, I think is
Yeah.
really where we're going to try to, because there's a ton of, this is just really quick high level overview of some of the major changes that our guests are going to experience, that you're going to experience as a colleague, and we know you guys
there will be things that come up that you guys will think of before I will, as like, oh, we need a solution
Like
for
the sofa
this.
beds, how, if people are in there and they're,
Yeah.
they want their sofa bed.
And
you tell
those
them
are
to
the kind
leave
of
or what?
things that we'll work through together, and we'll come up with those SOPs. And there's a lot of those that we're gonna go through on Thursday too. It's like specific situation.
All right.
And there'll be some we don't go through and that come up and we say, well, we got to figure that out. Great point. So we encourage those, we really do.
So going back to
Yeah.
the guest check-in experience.
Yeah.
So you guys said that you guys won't be testing the guests for temperature, right? So we're basically going based off what they're saying, right? Whether it's true or not.
Yeah, and this is something that's kind of gotten, I wouldn't say, I guess I'd say tossed around, right? Because there's some guidance that said originally that it was up to us. Then there was some that said you should do it. So again, it's kind of this, it's a topic that we've really tossed around, and we felt like it wasn't very welcoming to be drilling them down with a lot of this stuff. And it,
Always abide by what the county
Yeah.
says we gotta do. So the county's not saying we have to ask those questions, the county's simply saying we have to screen them. So that can come in whatever form, and then Hyatt's kind of given the form, if you will, of the way to do it. So, yes, unfortunately, we're not forced to take temperature checks of people walking into, the establishment. Hyatt's not mandating it, the county's not mandating that, so, I think certain establishments may be forced to or choose to, but that is.
yeah. And technically, yeah, I believe you're even supposed to be being asked at the restaurant. I saw that as well. But a lot of people, clearly you're not experiencing that. I mean, I haven't yet, but we want to make sure we're doing everything the right way, and not just being convenient, if that makes sense. So, but again, stuff like that's going to change, and we just have to be able to adapt and make sure we get it out to everybody what the difference is. Because like I said, you asked me earlier, and I remember reading about, drilling down all this stuff, but then, it has flip-flopped a bunch of times. So as things get better, obviously some of the regulation goes away, but now that some cases are coming back, we might start to see a little bit more of those stringent rules. So on we go. Our mission: to deliver distinct experiences for our guests. Ways our guests will experience Hyatt differently in our hotels around the globe. So no daily housekeeping. We already talked about that. Guest resources, compendium enhanced with digital QR code. We actually have a compendium that's a little different, so we're still determining what we want to do about that as far as it being able to be wiped down, because a lot of places have paper, and ours is a little more easily wiped down. So still finalizing that. Air filters, Keith and Mario and their team already have addressed those. Social distancing configurations, hand sanitizer readily available, enhanced cleaning and operating procedures, and everyone must be seated, no mingling. That goes for the dining. Again, so there'll be a bunch of stations up at the pool. As for events, which we don't really have at this point, but when those do come back, the venue will be adapted to maximize social distancing. Hand sanitizer, again, readily available. Clear directions to restroom facilities. Food to be packaged separately. No self-serve buffets allowed. So again, someone would be either serving all of the items or everything's pre-packaged. So you would have a salad with each individual package of, nuts, berries, cheeses, and whatnot. Limited service, fitness center, capacity limitations, equipment reduction based upon social distancing. Mobile check-in and check-out highly encourages with digital room key where available. IRD in restaurant not available. SDK available for dinner and list of local restaurants to be provided to guests. Again, so I tried to make a little list with some highlights as far as the best dish on the menu and whatnot. So just a little way that we can try to care for our guests. Okay, so new COVID-based medallia questions. Now, this one's a little hard to read, so I'll read them to you here. The new questions are: Compared to your expectations before arriving, how would you rate the performance of Andaz San Diego on much better, better as expected, or almost as, or worse than expected? For clearly communicating COVID-19 policies, protocols, and safety measures, providing cleanliness and hygiene-related amenities to meet your needs, providing contactless options to meet your needs, check-in, housekeeping, food and beverage, demonstrating care for your emotional well-being in addition to your physical safety, demonstrating that employee safety is important as guest safety, overall helpfulness of staff, and delivering on your World of Hyatt benefits. Compared to other reopened businesses you've experienced, how would you rate Andaz San Diego on overall performance of adapting its operations to serve you during this time? And then what is an example you felt cared for while at Andaz San Diego, and what is something that could be improved? That's an open-ended question, so we should get some good feedback on that, hopefully, instead of having to guess. And with those questions, there's also going to be some that are removed, which are the arrival experience, quality of sleep, overall World of Hyatt program experience, property anticipates my needs, and provides an experience that is meaningful and memorable for me. And then some flex ones are World of Hyatt benefits, spa services, and food and beverage outlets. So some changes as far as Medallia goes. We'll also be talking on kind of the operationally side, who's going to be dealing with Medallia and responding. So again, there's just a lot of moving parts as far as that goes, but hopefully we'll get some solid feedback. And you can see the theme here is obviously, again, cleanliness and care. So the more that we focus on that, the better. And I like that there's some open-ended examples so that the guests can really share with us maybe something that we did great or maybe something we can improve on. So I think that'll really help us as we grow here. So this is basically the kind of heart of house flow chart that you're going to be seeing here and at other Hyatts. Again, there's kind of a lot going on here, so I'll try to just paraphrase, but new wellness policy instructs colleagues to stay home from work if they are not feeling well, as Carrie already talked about. The hotel attendance policy is intended to allow for this practice without a penalty. Temperature checks, we touched on that. Uniforms are picked up from an attendant for proper PPE. Again, this is something we'll address here. This is general. A lot of this stuff is places that have a laundry department too, so you'll see that referenced a couple times. Locker room facilities and amenities have been adjusted to adhere to hygiene and social distancing. We've already talked about that we're working on. Day-to-day responsibilities completed while adhering to new cleanliness and social distancing guideline. Tables and chairs, again, that's all occupancy related, which we talked about. After dining, self-check on PPE requirements or return to work. That's once you go on break, so making sure that you come back ready to roll that way. Again, locker room after your break. And then when you go to leave, uniform drop off. We'll have an area for that as well. And then we talked about the QR code to give you some feedback, or to give us some feedback from yourselves. And then one colleague at a time with proper social distance. And reminder provided to return home. Reminder provided for return to home cleanliness after working a shift. Got it. So again, this is kind of just a standard slide that you'll see throughout the Hyatt's heart of house. All right, different ways our guests will experience our hotel. So the first thing up here, we ordered some shields for the desk. Okay, so those should be coming in shortly. Obviously, masks. Do we want to say what we're doing for masks? Okay, so we've ordered you all Maseo masks. So we thought that was kind of a cool thing to give you guys. So everyone will get some Maseo masks once those come in. So we thought that was kind of a neat thing, obviously, to bring our Andaz brand together and show that, man, what's going on out there? Theirs sounds more fun than ours now. So that was kind of neat, but we're still working on how to kind of label those so that we know whose is whose. Couple other pictures here as far as just up at the pool. Again, this might not be how it actually is going to look, but you get the point, right? So there's wipes, there's sanitizer, there's trash can. Again, wipes and sanitizer all over the place. So that's really how it should feel around here, that everyone has the opportunity to make sure they're clean as they're throughout the building. So I can't wait. Yeah, that'll be fun. I look forward to super gluing them down and then ripping the paint off for Keith. I got his attention. Okay. Okay. So different ways for our colleagues will experience our hotel. Again, you'll kind of see a station like this set up. Our thought would be is that we have a little area there that you can take your mask off and drop that in so that we can launder it for you. You'll see hand sanitizers by the doors. Sherwin and team will be doing temperature checks. And then also, again, by the time clock, you got your wipes there and your sanitizer. So, again, the more opportunities you have to stay clean, the better. But to your point, we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on things. And that goes when we're doing our rounds, and we're just got to keep an eye. So, protecting yourself and others through hygiene and proper equipment. Again, we touched on a lot of this, but just reiterating, daily wellness checks before coming to work, and daily temperature checks before starting your shift. 100 degrees is the key, okay? Let's be lower than that. Protect yourself and others by monitoring your own health. Again, these are the type of questions, too, as far as screening goes. Do you feel sick or unwell? Do you have a cough? Do you have a fever greater than 100 degrees? Do you have any other symptoms associated with COVID-19? Have you been in close recent contact with anyone who has or may have COVID-19? If you do not feel well, or if you've been exposed to someone or may have COVID-19, please refrain from coming to work. And then as far as that goes, you need to call your healthcare provider. Protect yourself and others through hygiene and personal protective equipment. So when we say PPE, that's what that means. So role model, social distancing, keep your hands clean, or personal protective equipment. So your masks and gloves, okay? And don't touch your face. Wash your hands, don't touch your face. Easiest way, okay? Keep your hands clean. Why is hand washing important? You spread germs by simply contacting others or touching another surface. Germs accumulate on your hands through different activities. It's an important way for you to protect your colleagues, guests, and family. And it's obviously a nice habit for sanitation. Again, PPE, how to wear your mask. I like the first one. That's a good one. As a headband. Do not wear your mask around your neck. Sorry, fail. Do not push your mask under your chin. Wear your mask so it comes all the way up, close to the bridge of your nose, and all the way down under your chin. Do your best to tighten the loops or ties so it's snug around your face without gaps. Smile with your mask on. Okay? Again, that station's right here for you. And then please see your manager if supplies need restocked. We'll also have some opportunities for you to have these items in your areas too. Obviously, this isn't the only spot. I thought this was kind of a cool slide. Are you experiencing fever, cough, or shortness of breath? Call your physician, and then if a doctor advises you to come in, specimen is collected via swab and sent to the lab. Doctor will provide you with test results. Doctor identifies mild symptoms and advises home isolation. Then you're supposed to isolate and stay home. If you didn't get an immediate response and you're experiencing severe symptoms, go to your local urgent care ER or call 911. Okay? So those are kind of the breakdowns. And again, this slide and others will be in your guides if you need reference. Okay? So don't feel like you need to memorize all this. Yep.
In regards to staff not feeling well, so let's say they're at work
Yeah.
Do we send them to their own care provider, or do we follow the whole call the nurse's hotline, get them there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, we can follow up on that. Honestly, I'm not sure. I would assume they would want us to call our own, but at the end of the day, you're going to go to your own doctor as well. So the biggest key at that point would be to make sure that you feel comfortable leaving work if you're not feeling well, right? And that if you're not feeling well before you start work, that you don't even come and you let us know, okay? That's really the key as far as operationally who we call. We'll research that, but at the end of the day, the message should be is if you feel like you're coming down with something, by all means, let us know, and we'll need to accommodate you. I just said operationally we can figure that out. I'm not totally positive, but we'll want to make sure they obviously feel comfortable leaving and that we do everything we can to accommodate that, whether they are here or they have yet to come. So, good question. We'll have to look into that. Prioritizing your well-being during this time of uncertainty. Again, remember to feel, fuel, and function. How you feel, emotional and mental well-being, how you fuel, power your body, and how you physically move and function every day. Who has used Headspace, or who knows of Headspace? You guys know about this? So every Hyatt colleague has access to Headspace. And it's kind of a well-being app. I think there's more here. Yeah. So I can make sure you all have instructions, or maybe you could even scan that. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Let me see. But it's kind of a cool, if I'm not standing in front of the thing. Oh yeah, it worked. That's kind of cool. So, but it's a neat app. Sometimes I'll just listen to like soothing sounds on there, but there's a lot of different options, and it is a cool thing for all Hyatt colleagues have access to it. So I'll leave this slide up once we're done if anyone wants to scan it and get the app. But use your global ID and your last name, and then you're good to go. So check that out. Again, together we'll make an impact and realize our vision. It's a world of understanding and care, and we want you to be a part of it. So wish more people could be a part of it right now, honestly, and that was really tough. But you guys are here, and we know you're going to do a great job. At the end of the day, you guys are the ones that make the difference, right? So again, we have some more training later this week, and again, this stuff outside of housekeeping, the other ones are flexible a little bit, so I can chat with you guys after this, again, because a lot of this stuff was kind of last minute as we were trying to get all this worked out this week. Any other questions? This is the last slide. Oh, hold on. Go ahead, Tyler.
With COVID, how severe it is, if one of us were to test positive, would we suspend operations?
It's a great question, and that's something that we would have to take upon when it happened. We have Sherwin again has a whole packet of information as far as how to go about all of that. It very well could happen, but at the same time, we would owe certain measures to you all as far as safety goes. So, but yeah, if you're not feeling good, go back to that slide where you get tested and figure it out and let us know so that we can make sure all measures are taken. We would probably, again, I don't know, but we would probably make sure that everyone got tested just to be safe and then go from there. But it's a great question. Yeah, we'd obviously be cautious about it. And again, it goes back to your guys' safety. Really want to make sure that when you walk in the door, you feel good about it. Because if you don't, the guests certainly aren't going to, right? So that's key. Mario, your 10-minute break's coming, and Michael?
I had one comment, because
Sure.
it's already happened where when we're asking you guys to wear your mask and practice all the safety and caring for our guests and all that stuff, we gotta be looking through the guest's
Good point. What else?
Are we still offering valet?
Oh, great question. That's such a good question. So what we're exploring right now is basically a remote service of valet. So essentially, we're working with another hotel that we would be able to allow the guests to park outside, give us the keys, we would call them, they would come get the keys in the car, and then the guest would call that number to have the car brought back.
When you say give us, do you mean front desk?
Yeah, they'll give the host the keys, yeah. And so we'll have a way of securing that and a way of organizing that. But that's essential, or tagging it essentially, right? So, but yeah, we're working on that. It's not finalized yet. So we have a parking. Xenia, our owners, use a parking. I don't want to say contractor, but basically a reference guide that he works on a lot of this stuff. So that's not something we were ready to go on this a little while ago, but he needs to make sure he approves everything per their advice. So, yeah, it's a really decent idea because it doesn't. It's not like then we have our valet standing out there with these occupancy levels that we don't really know what we're going to get, right? And so initially, it allows us to offer valet with basically no cost. Again, it's not an ideal situation, but at least we can offer something as opposed to saying self-parking only. So it was a different way of going about it, but we're going to give it a shot, at least initially, if he gives it the green light. So great question. What else? Yes.
What if, for example, somebody came to work
Yeah.
and they had a temperature that was above normal?
Yeah. Great point.
What's the next steps after that? Do they get turned away immediately and they have to stay home for several days, or
Yeah.
what are the next steps?
Yep. So there was some advice on this that was given about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. So I could tell you the latest on that was that, yes, you're supposed to send them home. And depending in, I want to say, 72 hours, if they're still experiencing symptoms, they could potentially come back at 72 hours. If they're still experiencing symptoms in 72 hours, then it's 10 days. And again, that was the latest advice that came on that front. But it just goes back to, again, it's not something we can mess around with, and so that's why the temperature checks are going to happen to everyone when they walk in, and we just need you guys to be aware too. You're more than happy to take your temperature before you come in and save yourself the trip if you have it. So the temperature, that is. So yeah, just keep us updated. But the key is safety, and we can't stress that enough. We're not willing to mess around with it. But again, regulation on that type of stuff keeps changing, because I saw advice on that a little earlier that wasn't that strong. So, but we can give you all, again, the latest as we know it. So.
What if like you bike or like you walk to work, right? And it's like you're obviously exercising as you're going to work. Your face is hot. Obviously, it's not going to be above normal. Or
I
it's
think
going to
it
be
reads
above normal.
past that, because I've already had that done to me several times, and I've been sweating coming in from my bike and read normal, so I think it looks past the surface temperature.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you could take 10 minutes to cool down and then come back. That's, at the end of the day, we're not here to be turning you guys away when we obviously want you here, right? So if you think something like that's up and you're like, no, I feel totally fine, I would say go take a walk and come back in 5 minutes, and let's confirm. But
If you had laundry before all this went down, do you know when that will be coming back?
I have a couple bags that I need to get rid of. I got to find that out too.
Yeah, because it went to the company now,
Yeah.
and so I just didn't know when it would come back.
Yeah. I can take a peek downstairs and see if it came back, but if not, we can follow up with them. Then nothing came back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I called in
We'll follow.
yesterday, so
Oh, okay, cool.
we can have him come earlier if we need to, but he's planning on coming the second.
It's no rush.
Okay. Yeah, no, good question. Yes, sir.
Just to touch on the temperatures, so it's considered anything at or above 100.4 is considered a fever. So if you have a temperature at that level or above, I would recommend staying home and wear your suit.
Yeah.
But that's the cutoff right there.
What else you got? Anything else? Yes.
I have one thing, so
Okay.
just to touch on the coffee, I know you guys were going back and forth on that. I recently stayed at a hotel, I guess about 2 weeks ago, and I was disappointed to see that they had no coffee maker, like no Keurig or
Mhm.
no pods or anything.
Mhm.
And I called, I said, what do we do with the coffee? Because I need coffee first thing in the morning. And they said, come down, they have these little complimentary cards, you get one and then you take it to the front desk, and they had two pumps, like they had regular and decaf,
Mhm.
and they basically did it behind the desk and handed you the cup of coffee, so I guess to reduce the
Yeah.
touch points. But I just thought I'd
Yeah.
bring that up.
That's interesting. For sure. And on that front, the welcome beverage is another thing that we're tossing around as far as what we're going to do on that front. So we got to still kind of finalize that. But at the end of the day, if everything is wrapped up and you have gloves on and you're able to give it to them with a single-use napkin that they could then throw away, that should be fine. It goes back to the same procedures that they were probably doing there. Our goal would be is that obviously this is our host team here, that they're not going to be able to serve everyone coffee, right? And so you kind of have this balance that we have to go about as far as having minimal staff, but still being able to provide the world to these guests, right? And I think that's goes back to the challenge of teamwork and communication and making sure that everyone feels comfortable doing multiple things. Engineering has still been here, and security's been here, and these guys have done everything from fixing the place to mopping the floors to, the job description's endless. So that's kind of how we have to think, since again, this is the core group of people that are here. It's not a full room, right? And so the more that we can do on that front, we just have to work as a team and help each other out. And that could be something that, say we implemented that and you guys are spending the whole morning pouring coffee, I'd expect you to say, JB, help me. I can't do this every day and still check in our guests, And so that goes back to the communication where we need to kind of shift gears if needed. And that's why the communication is so big. So, okay. What else? All good? So no one's used this Headspace, really?
I've used it, not the companies, but I've used Headspace.
Okay, yeah. So you should have a free version from.
Sorry,
Yeah. So if you have a subscription.
I usually listen to like an old man reading with the rain on.
Yeah. See, there you go. This is kind of cool. So you guys gotta check it out. You can always use it for your kids or whatever too. So. Okay. All good.